Hey guys, so today I'm going to be repressing any broken shadows that I have found dumpster diving. So I'm going to take the Nubian by Juvia's Place, and that'll be the first palette. What you're going to need is a high percentage of alcohol. I'm using 91% and that seems to work just fine. Also, you're going to need some kind of utensils. I use these pointer sticks just to break away at the eyeshadows. Also paper towels to help repress the powders and to also clean up. So first I'm going to start with this palette, and you're just going to go ahead and you're going to break away at the eyeshadow. You're going to find it crumbles very easily. Try to keep it inside of the pan. And just go around the edges all around and just basically crush it. It's actually so relaxing to do. You never realize how fun it is to actually break makeup until you need to fix it. You'll find the shimmers crumble like butter. They're just so soft. It's actually pretty easy to do this. So yeah, just keep watching. I find these little alcohol sprayers in the Ulta trash as well. I always pick them up when I find them. I'm going to go ahead and pour the alcohol in it to make it a little bit easier for me to pour into the eyeshadow pan. You're going to go ahead and pour just a little bit of alcohol. You don't want the eyeshadow really wet. You want it just a little saturated. That way you can kind of clump it together. You want more of a paste than you want like a watery substance. So you're just going to take the utensil and kind of mush it around. Like I said, you're going to want it like a pasty kind of material. Make sure you get all around the edges. You want to try to get every bit of the eyeshadow wet. That way the rubbing alcohol is sanitizing the eyeshadow at the same time. I'm adding just a little bit more because I want it just a little bit more wet. You're also going to want to try and spread it out, get it all over the pan. That way when you repress it, it kind of fills the whole pan and you don't have any missing spots. Sometimes you might overdo it and get it on the edges. That's fine. Alcohol dries, so the wet spots will not remain on the outer packaging. And it's alright if you do get the eyeshadows a little bit wet. You're just going to let it air dry a little bit longer before you press it. The reason I'm not using the spray cap to the bottle is because when you go to spray the eyeshadow, it's just going to fly out of the pan. So I just take the top off and pour the alcohol in that way, kind of like a dropper. If you have a dropper, that would be awesome. And don't worry about any mess you have. Afterwards, you're just going to clean up with more rubbing alcohol. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the paper towel and you're going to fold it because you're going to want it pretty thick. Because you're going to need it thick to absorb the alcohol. You're going to go ahead and press it over the eyeshadow and you're going to press in on the pan, just in the pan area. That way it condenses it and then voila. You do that a couple times till you get a lot of the alcohol out. You'll find that the paper towel will be wet. You're going to want it to be dry. So just keep pressing. Don't overpress. You don't want it coming out of the pan, but that's what you're going to do. You're just going to take the paper towel, press in. So that's what it looks like at first. I went ahead and broke the rest, and I'm going to go ahead and basically repress all of them, and I'll show you what it looks like. So voila, that is the Nubian palette after I have repressed it. That packaging will dry. Rubbing alcohol does dry, so leave the top open and let it air dry. So I'm going to show you how to repress any face powders. It's basically the same. So I'm taking this Too Faced bronzer that I found cracked, and I'm going to take my utensil and just continue breaking away at the product, and I'm going to follow the first steps that I have. So basically it's crushing down the eyeshadow, pouring some rubbing alcohol in, spreading it out, and then repressing it, and so on and so on. The more and more you do this, the more comfortable you'll feel. So don't worry about pouring too much alcohol. Don't worry about making it too wet or too dry. It'll eventually work out. You'll figure out what works for you, and you'll just eyeball things a little bit better. This time I'm taking my finger and help spreading it across. I did wash my hands prior to this and then spray it with alcohol as well. So just to help even out it a little bit better before I press it. Once again, I'm taking the paper towel, folding it over, and I'm going to go ahead and push down on the product to get it nice and tight inside of the component. Use a little bit more strength, a little bit more bigger packaging, and press, press, press. See how you have the spot? You want to get that extra alcohol out of there so it's not super duper wet. I'm going to do it a couple more times, and voila, you're going to let it dry, and then you can clean up around it afterwards. And that's what it looks like as it's drying. Same with highlighter. So I have this Morphe highlighter. I'm just going to go ahead and repeat the same process. Crush it down, pour some rubbing alcohol, press, and then let it dry.